here. We are going to record this session, so there was a lot of folks who weren't able to join us today or for the session on Thursday, so that they can get a recording of that. And then we're going to do just quick introductions, and I'll go through our agenda. We're going to take you on a tour of everything, and then there'll be plenty of time to ask questions at the end as well. You can also feel free to pop things in the chat as we go along, so we get to those later, or if Jasmine knows the answer, she can answer those for you all. And so my name is Mindy Hurd. I'm the assistant director for our embedded career team, and to believe the group that we have been reviewing and putting this course together. So very happy to have you all here and to have your interest in this course. Jasmine, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jasmine Evans. I am the program manager for Student Services Outreach and DEI lead. I also helped work on this particular course, so we're really excited to see folks here and that you will utilize this and give us feedback. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, so I'd love to hear a little bit. You can put it in the chat, or yeah, since we have quite a few folks here, maybe put in the chat like what college you're coming from, or program or department. Would love to see kind of what area folks are in as we go through this. Great, kind of all areas: leads, business minors, CCI, Bold Center, series, lots of different areas. College of Arts and Sciences, fantastic. Well, we're glad you all are here, and we hope that you'll also help spread the word and let your colleagues know about our new courses just launched. Jasmine, sorry, are we recording? Okay, I don't know why I'm not seeing it for some reason, but that's perfect. And again, like I said, as we go along, if you have questions, feel free to pop in the chat, and we'll have time for questions at the end too. Let me go over here. Okay. So we're going to go through briefly why you might want to use these modules, how they were developed, the different topics, learning outcomes, and activities. We're going to take you on a tour of the course, one module in particular, but we can also hop around. We'll talk about how to access the course, and then do a Q&A at the end. If you did not find out about this or sign up through the Google form, and we'll talk more about the end, make sure you do that after this so that I have your email and contact information to get you signed up. So why import career modules into your course? So according to the CU Boulder, the 2021 Senior Exit Survey, 75% of students plan to begin working or seeking employment after graduation. So that's a really high number of students that are concerned about their careers and what's going to happen next. And so we think with those of you that have a Canvas course, it's such a great starting point. And so of those, 48% at 2021 had already knew they were going to begin working, and then another 27% were planning to seek employment. So you all can help your students prepare for their next step after college by incorporating some or all of these career and professional development modules into your Canvas course. And these modules provide the foundational content that students need as they consider what job or career to pursue, how to build experiences and skills during their time at CU Boulder, and how to successfully job search. So we really see you all as a great kind of access point for students to learn more about career development. So a little bit about how we developed this course in particular. We originally launched a career course. It was called BUFS Career and Professional Development in fall 2020. That was put together pretty quickly that summer prior, so we could get that launched and up and running. And after that was launched, we had a working group that came together to complete a review of that course. And after we reviewed that, we identified that we needed to start, kind of create a new course from scratch that felt more cohesive And we also wanted to identify some theories as foundations for the course. So we thought through, first of all, some of the various career development theories and identified Super's Life Career Rainbow and Bluestein's Psychology of Working as some of the foundational areas we wanted to incorporate. So throughout the course, students are encouraged to consider the various areas of their life where they are building experience and skills, and to think about how that informs their current career development and their future career paths. We want them to make that connection between what are they doing in their academics, what are they doing in their other areas of their lives, or we have all these different roles, both as students and then outside of school as well. This course also considers students' career development through the lens of social justice, aiming to provide students with the means to use their time at CU Boulder to develop the social capital they need for career success. And a lot of that comes out of Bluestein's Psychology of Working. And I have, in our course, we have references to all these various things. So you can find access to all of those, plus some fun things to read to learn more as well. We also wanted to consider the development of our students. So we utilize student development theories as we built this course too. You can see we use Chickering, Marcia, and Baxter-Magolda's theories. And so in our course, various modules include opportunities for students to reflect on their past experiences and identify next actions to take that contribute to their development. So for example, in the job search module, students reflect on job and internship search strategies that have worked for them in the past. Then later in the module, they take the information that they've learned through the content and apply it to finding a relevant internship or job posting. Another example is in the career and major exploration module. Students work through where they are stuck in the process to identify ways to explore. So we're trying to help them build, as they're in these different stages of building their identity, how can we utilize some of that within these course modules? So it's a little bit about the theory behind that. One of the other things we took into consideration was the accessibility of our course for students, depending on a variety of identities and how also they best learn. So we made an effort to create a course that meets the needs of our diverse student population. And we offer a variety of modalities, such as making sure the documents are embedded within the course. They don't also have to need to download those separately. We use things like written content, visual graphics, videos that include, the audio so they can listen along, as well as text to follow along. We try to choose language that most students can relate to. Sometimes career development terms are unknown to students, and so we tried to make sure that we were using language that students can understand and relate to. And we also provided a glossary at the beginning of each module with career terms that they may not be familiar. Some students might know them and some might not. And this is a way to also help close those social capital gaps. So if some of our students haven't heard some of these terms or know what some of these things mean and how to do them, we're hoping to close those gaps for students through this content. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing from here because we're going to start to tour some of our different documents now. Let me switch. Get out of this. I'm not the fastest at switching, so just give me a second here. So let's switch over. I have this, and I'll share this out. It's actually in our a link to it. Oh, I have been signed out. That's okay. Let me just stop sharing. There we go. It's fine if I'm not signed into Google. Don't know why it's signing me out. Here we go. So we created this chart, and actually I'll put a link to it in the, no, it's not gonna let me right now. It's in our documents that we're sending with you all. But what it has is our module on the left-hand side. And then we have our learning outcomes listed next to them. There's usually like 3 to 4 learning outcomes per module. The name of the activities. And so some activities, as you can see, are discussion boards. Some are something they complete. Sometimes there's a few questions they answer. And so you can see just a brief, name of the activity and how many activities. There's typically 2 to 3 per module. And then the timing of that module. So we wanted to make it easy for you all to see how much time will this take for my students to complete. How can I best incorporate this into my course? And we tried to keep these very manageable so they didn't take extended amounts of time in order for you to incorporate this into your course. We know you have a lot of content to teach as it is, but we're hoping you can find ways to pull this in. So at the top of each timing, it has the total amount of time to go through the content and complete the activities. And then we break it down. How much time will it take to read or watch the videos that are in the content? How much time will it take to complete the activities? Obviously, some of this can vary depending on the speed of students, how long they read or how long it takes them to work through some of the activities. And so we have 8 modules total. We have job search, applications, which covers resumes and cover letter, career and major exploration, Handshake and LinkedIn profiles, interviewing. We have networking, skills for success, which is a really neat new program that we have as well. And so this is a great way to introduce students to this program, and professional experiences, which also includes information about internships. So know that you can view this. This can give you a quick overview and help you identify, okay, what might I want to utilize in my course? Then I'm going to take you, if you all can see this. We're in Canvas now. Great, thank you, Jasmine. We're in Canvas now, and this is our home page. So once I give you access, it'll show up in your dashboard, so you can click into it. This is our overview page. So it's a great place. You could import this into your module, but you don't necessarily need to. This is kind of your guide for navigating the different modules here. You can see, so I'm just gonna look at my notes real quick here. If you do want to see some additional resources you can direct students to, if you click this tab here, we have links to where you can find workshops and events, different online tools that we utilize, other programs that are happening. So no, this is a great just like list of several of our resources here. And then also our contact information. Oh, I feel like that took us to a different place. We might have changed that. There we go. I think we need to fix our link, but we'll fix it so it goes directly there. But this is where students can get directly started. We'll go back. So here's where it shows up on the dashboard. So we'll talk in a minute about how to import modules into your course. But what I want to start with is going through one of our modules. I'm going to start with the job search one. But you'll have access to look through all of these and determine, which ones you might want to utilize. So within each module, we have kind of this home page for the module, which has a brief overview of what this is about. We're trying to also tap into what students might be worried about related to this topic. We have the learning outcomes, a link to the activities, links to additional resources. And then here is the glossary. This one has a lot of words in it, but this can be really helpful for students to kind of go through and identify what these things are, and what this means. And these words will show up within the module. But students don't need to do anything on this first page. It's just a great reference point for them for the module as they're working through it. So next, at the beginning of each module, you're going to see a brief survey. And this is really important. We ask that you make sure you keep this part in your course when you import it in. This is how we're going to track utilization of the course. So we also need to encourage you all to make sure your students are completing this page of the module. We're going to ask students to enter their identity, the course number that they're taking, and then the instructor's last name. So what we're hoping to track is get a good sense of which modules are being used the most, which areas of campus are using them. That's why we want to know the course name. Is it happening a lot in one college or the other? We want to kind of see where it's being utilized. And in the student, we want to be able to pull some information of like, are they an undergraduate or graduate student? So know that we're hoping to make this pretty painless for you and your students, but it's really important for us to know how is this impacting CU Boulder students, and are we reaching the numbers of students we're hoping to with this, and how can we improve that? So hopefully please make sure your students complete this page and keep that in the course. It just takes it to a Qualtrics survey that we'll be utilizing. And it all completes in here, so they don't have to leave. So then for this module, this one's a little bit different than some of the others. We actually start with an activity first. So it's a quick discussion board. We're trying to have them access some pre-knowledge, like what are things they've done in the past that have worked for them. So helping them identify strategies they've used in the past to find an opportunity, whether it's a job, internship, volunteering, etc. What you'll notice, and there's a more detailed document that goes through how to adjust how the grading works. You don't need to assign points necessarily. You can if you want, depending on how you want to grade it. But Brooke and our team provided a fantastic resource of what types of assignments are in here, how you can change the grading. Like this one's set for 0 points possible right now, but you can of course go in and change that. But we wanted to provide ways for students to interact with each other in the class. So we try to, not always exactly the same module by module, but we try to have one activity where students are interacting either through a discussion board or some other way with their peers, and then one activity that they're more likely completing on their own and then submitting. So in this case, we put it at the first because we thought it was a great way to get them talking about it, thinking about what they've done in the past before they learn some new information. Let's take it a second to load. So then we go through on this module, we have, and this one, the content's really about 10 minutes, so it's very quick. So they learn about the elements of a job search. We've tried to incorporate some different graphics to break up text and trying to keep it very readable, easily, and not be just blocks and blocks of text as much as we can avoid. We do encourage students to make sure and to let your students know there's a lot of drop downs and things so they can, if it helps them to look at just one thing at a time, that can be a great way to read through it, or they could expand all if they want. And there's various versions of this throughout the course. We try to also include, this one's a Google Doc it links to, but where it's non-Google Docs, sometimes we include that in here as well. So they don't have to necessarily go somewhere else or download it. So we try to break up the content a little bit, try to highlight different mistakes or things to avoid in different colors. And then we'll go through here. Some of our modules have videos that you can play. I won't play this one right now, but we try to keep them 2 to 3 minutes tops. I think there might be one that's a little bit longer, but we try to keep it, again, very short, very watchable. We want it to be very digestible for students, that they can get information quickly. We know they want to, move along pretty quickly through content. So this video is a little more introductory on like the job search process. A lot of our other videos, we really focused on trying to include a specific thing we wanted them to learn versus an overview of the content they're already reading. And again, we have some more drop downs here. You collapse them all, they can kind of play around with this. So this one, we broke it up a little bit differently. We tried to, keep it interesting, keep changing how the content works, so that students will stay a little more engaged. Here we're talking about how to find jobs, where to look. And so we have these tabs at the top where they can go to different locations and learn more about these different job posting sites. When we get down here, again, we're seeing, trying to break it up, trying to change things around just a little bit, make it consistent feeling, and yet a little variety in how they're interacting with the information. I think it's our next, here's our next activity. So this one, for example, this activity gets them hopefully utilizing some of the information they just learned. So we're asking them to go out, use a job posting site. Hopefully they'll pick Handshake, which was the first one in there, and our job and internship board. And so what we're asking them to do is go out, find some information and then submit it this way. So we are trying to typically in a lot of the modules help them apply some of what they've learned so that they can have something concrete that they're taking out of what they've done here and helps them that step closer as they're job searching, internship searching, or whatever the module is focused on. Okay, let me just look here. Okay, so now to import these modules, if you have a Canvas course, then I'll make you an instructor. I think I'm clarifying some of the roles. You'll probably be added as a teacher. If you don't currently have a course, then I might be checking with some folks. I will probably add you as an observer. We're just trying to minimize how many people can accidentally make changes to our Canvas course. So the key thing is when you come in here, so if you look through and you want to import something, if you click the modules button on the left, if you have a teacher access, you'll see all of this here. You can go through each of the modules and see. You can also pick and choose what you include from each module, but what typically works best is to import the entire module into your Canvas course first, and then take things out or hide things or unpublish things, because what you'll find is it's going to be a lot easier to just import. So you can say you're going to copy to, please don't move, copy to, and then I think you can also do it in reverse. This is where my knowledge of Canvas breaks down just a little bit as someone who doesn't teach a course, but I think from yours you can also import from, but I could be wrong about that. So OIT has a lot of helpful information on this too, and we have a link to documents. I'll show you where that is on how to do this as well. But you can copy this too so that you can import it in, and then you can make your changes. We tried to set them up, so hopefully they don't take a lot of time and you might want to utilize everything, but we know that it may not make sense. Some things may not make sense for your class or students. So you can make those changes then. The other thing what you'll see if you click from the module side instead of going through that main dashboard view is we have unpublished the instructor resources, and they're in every module. So once you move that whole module in there, those will go with you. You don't have to come back to this course to try to find all that information again, but it won't show up for your students. So when you click this instructor guide, it's a really large file, so it might take a moment. Okay, I had already loaded it, so I'm glad it might take you a moment to get it to load up the first time you open it. We have some of the information, like I was going through here, shared with you why I use these modules. I've got like a less beautiful looking version of the chart here, but I have the link to it as well. I'm going to scroll, so hopefully it's not making you too dizzy. We've got our references in here, a reading list of some articles that might be interesting as you think about career development and students in college. We have some data from NACE around what employers are looking for. This is why we're tracking student usage. And so, again, that track, oh, there we go. But when we get down here, yeah, this gets into some of our frequently asked questions. So this is the link to that guide from OIT of how to import courses or modules or courses into your course. We tried to think of like things you might want to know. We also identified some like what modules might you want to use with specific types or groups of students. So maybe first year students, they might be thinking about career and major exploration, or we'd love to get them utilizing Handshake or LinkedIn early on, or our new Skills for Success program. So try to give you some ideas. Again, any of these courses can be utilized with all students, undergraduate or graduate. It's the foundational content that all students need to know when they're thinking about career development and when they're trying to identify what's that next step I need to do to get ready for finding my internship, my job, identifying, what major I want to do. So there's a few different questions in here that you might find helpful. If there's questions you have, feel free to email me, or the other thing you can do is we have this, if you have ideas of like what you might want to change, and I think I have it up, I skipped over it earlier. But we would love to know how this is working for you or not working for you. So we have a form that you can complete that you can share what module you're referring to, or maybe it's something related to the whole course. And then you can put in there, what are your ideas of how can we improve this? How can we make this more usable for students, or something that would make it easier for your life as an instructor, that when you import it, it's not working, or you have an idea of how to improve it. So know that you can please share that with us. I have it turned on, so it'll notify me whenever we get new ideas. And then the other thing I want to show you is in this instructor guide, this is the resource that's related to all the assignments, what type of assignments they are and how they're being graded. So you can go through and make changes or make it work for what you need to do. But Brooke's done a great job of breaking this down throughout here. She worked on this part for us. So if you have questions or you're feeling stuck, again, send me an email. We'll help you get it figured out. I might be connecting you with Brooke on our team who created that part of it. The other piece, let me just look here. If you did not, probably a lot of you, let me pop over here. This is our web page that has the course like information. We'll put some more information here shortly. But we have this request access down at the bottom. So probably a lot of you already completed this form. If you didn't complete this form already, please be sure to do so. And I will put it, or maybe Jasmine, can you put it in the chat? When you have a moment, thank you. Make sure you do this, because this is how I'm going to go off and see who I need to add to the course. So I'll be starting to add, I wanted to do these modules first. So later today, or more likely tomorrow, I'll start adding folks to these so that you can start to get these in, because I know you all are setting up your courses, or probably have already set up your courses. So we'll get you added in there. It just is that reminder again, please make sure your students are completing that survey. That's really, really important for our tracking. Also on this page, whoops, hiding for me, there we go. Nope, not on this page, let me go back. My email is just mindy.hurd, HURD, but it's also on this page here. So you can always email me with your questions or any challenges you're having with the course. And we're happy to help support you as you implement it. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I think we've already had a couple of things in the chat. Then we'll go to questions. Just going to grab a drink first. All right. Oh, great. Thanks for your comments, Judy. Looks like, okay, yeah, this is a great question. So curious why the whole course couldn't be available to all students to use or not as they choose. Thanks for that question, Heidi. Yeah, that is definitely something we talked about in the beginning. We decided we wanted to start with a course. We've noticed students are more likely to do things when they're required to do things. And so we wanted to start with how can we get this into classrooms and maybe have a piece where they're having to do this as a first step. And we felt like we probably have better utilization of it. That being said, this is still on our list of future things that we want to do. And we know that there's been interest in that. And I think it would be great for a lot of students also to have that their own access to it. But I think we would also want to structure it just a little bit differently, because we structured this for a class setting. So we have those discussion board questions that aren't going to be quickly translatable. So know that that's on our list of ideas. But for this first iteration, as we redid this, we wanted to make sure it got into classrooms where students might have to do it.
Can I add something, Mindy?
Yes, please do.
So we've also seen, Heidi, that in general, our largest referrals that we're getting are from our professors, instructors to career services. And so that's a great place folks are already starting. So we wanted to give resources to that group on campus to better support the students that they're meeting with, rather than saying, just go to career services. Here's a tool that they can import already, use, and we can do some more trial and error before we release it to the masses, which would be the student facing side, because in my opinion, that can go badly very quickly if we haven't spent some time troubleshooting and seeing where improvements could be made. And this allows us to release a really solid program, but also still take in some more feedback before we release it at a larger scale.
Thank you.
That makes a lot of sense. Can I just ask a quick follow-up question? I know other people have questions, but do you have a sense of how long each module takes? Just, we have our courses kind of designed, and so just adding anything in, it's a burden on students. And so it's one of those, we want to provide resources, but also don't want to burden them.
Yeah, I'm going to put this in the chat, which is our little chart that has the timing for each course. And so they're anywhere from some modules are as little as like 25 minutes for the whole thing. To some are more like an hour and 25 minutes. That's our skills for success, which we purposely kind of wanted to put a little bit more in there. But you can also then pick and choose, like maybe you only do one act. We also thought instructors might choose to do one activity instead of two activities, like that best suits their class. So that hopefully that link is letting you view it. If it doesn't, let me know, because I'm not signed in right now. But yeah, that was kind of our hope, that you kind of get a sense of the timing. We know it's tight. You have a lot of content you all have to teach. And we love that feedback too. Like as you're doing something, if you feel like it could be shortened or some ideas around that, let us know. Great question.
Great, thank you.
Other questions?
I have a quick question about logistics. So are these, I think this is great, by the way. I think it's so thoughtful. It's very thorough, and I really appreciate it. And I think students are really going to love this. But in terms of like what it's intended for, is it like they'll do it in class, or can it be an assignment type of thing?
Yeah, it could be an assignment. So what we did is we booked it, like you don't need to facilitate anything.
Okay.
As the instructor. So it could just be an assignment that they complete. You could also choose to have a discussion or bring it into your classroom as you choose, but we created it so it does not have to be facilitated by the instructor. It should be guided for the students to work through it.
Okay. And then I kind of have a follow-up question, just like so I do a career day in all my classes, and we kind of talk about, I let students like pick and choose, and we kind of just have like a informal discussion, but and then I always follow up with like my upper division students can either submit their LinkedIn profile to me or a cover letter. But for my lower division students, I can't do that because I have like over 100 students in that class. So I was thinking that these would actually be a really great follow. I normally do like a metacognition reflection type of thing, but I think this would actually be more directed. And so would it be kind of following up what Heidi says, should I pick just a few of the modules to upload onto my Canvas course as an assignment? Or is it too much to do all of them and have the students pick? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Or like give them some choice of like which ones they're completing. I would say it's really up to you. I mean, I think too many choices can be a little overwhelming for students sometimes. So also thinking about like what content would be most relevant based on what you're doing. If you're talking about, having them work on their profiles and things, like they could work on that in the Handshake and LinkedIn profiles one, or work on their resume, depending on what you're wanting them to get out of that. But you could certainly also import it all in there and let them choose.
Okay, cool.
I think there's no restriction around like how you go about that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. I really do think this is a really great resource.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. You're welcome. I love that you do a career day in your course. That's fantastic. Yeah.
Lauren, I just wanted to do a quick plug for a technology tool that might be helpful, especially for your upperclassmen. So you talked about the LinkedIn profile review. We have a tool called VMock. It's an AI tool that does resume reviews. Folks can build their resume in the tool, but there's also a feature called Aspire that gives them feedback on their LinkedIn profile specifically and tells them how to build a better one.
Oh
So
man,
that
that's
could be
great.
a great first step, and then you could look at it after, because I would say human touch is always helpful, but that gives them something that can access it 24/7 and then get some feedback, learn where they need to pull their LinkedIn, and then have something from you.
Yeah, that's great, because I also tell them like I'm not an expert, I'm just like one person. So so yeah, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Great. I just put the link to VMock in the chat, and actually I'll put all of our link to all our online tools in the chat there too. And a lot of these, we try to incorporate them into our modules as well.
Mm-hmm.
So as you go through a module, you'll see references to these various tools. Other questions?
I had a quick one. I'm trying to remember. I feel like I'm getting already lost in my emails with the upcoming semester because I teach a business professional communication class and we'll be utilizing at least another skills for success module. Did we? I could have swore I got an invite on Canvas for the course, but it's not showing up in my dashboard. Is that possible, or is it going to show up in a different place than my dashboard?
I don't think you would have gotten an invite for it all yet because
Okay.
we just published it.
Perfect.
Now, if you're working with Christy, maybe she sent you one to our sandbox. I don't know. But yeah, I will be sending those out over the next couple of days.
That's perfect. That was my one curiosity because I'm probably mixing it up with like the calendar invites and the survey
Yeah.
for this. So just making sure that there's something showing up that I shouldn't already be starting to add to my Canvas course. So thank you.
No, you are good. I'm going to try to get all of you guys will all be being here will be like top priority here, but try to get everyone added in the next couple of days so you can start utilizing that course. And I'll also send out this recording. I should have said at the beginning, this recording and my PowerPoint that I created so you can reference that too. Great. Other questions? Well, we know sometimes questions come later. So of course, feel free, you can reach out to Jasmine or myself. My email is kind of around in these places. But feel free to reach out if you have questions. We can also hang on here a minute longer if folks have something else they want to ask us. But thank you all for your interest in this. We're so excited to see this start to get utilized. And again, please send feedback. We would love your feedback using that form. So great, thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye, everyone.
So much. This is really great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Bye. Well, let me stop recording.